Welcome to the City Current Show, powered by Hagen-Botham Insurance and Financial Services.
This show focuses on sharing good news and powering the good in our community. Now here's your host, City Current CEO, Jeremy Park.
Welcome to the City Current Show, powered by Hagen-Botham. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference and powering the good. And we always love highlighting the amazing efforts of Songwriting with Soldiers. That's why we're honored to have with us Jordyn Hay, Program Director and Lead Facilitator at Songwriting with Soldiers. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. I appreciate being on here today.
Well, you all are doing so much good. When you talk about the power of using songwriting, the creative arts for healing and strength and helping our veterans and military families, there's a lot to unpack. So let's start. Give us a little bit of history and some background for Songwriting with Soldiers.
Yeah, absolutely. So Songwriting with Soldiers is a Nashville-based nonprofit, though we do serve nationwide. We were founded in 2012, and our mission is to kind of twofold. It's one, to work with the veterans and help put professional songwriters with them to help tell their story. But the other end is that we're really bridging the gap between the civilian understanding of the veteran perspective. So we really are open to the songs are not exclusive for veterans. It really hits on everyone's experience as just being human. So that is the core, though there are so many more things that we've gotten into in the last, I guess, a little over a decade now, but that is still the true heart of our organization, is help our veterans.
You know firsthand the power of using art, creativity for this healing journey. Share a little bit of your personal storyline tied to Songwriting with Soldiers, and then we'll dive into the retreats and how all the magic happens.
Yeah, absolutely. So my background is a bit different, and I didn't start in nonprofit. That wasn't actually the world I was thinking I was going to go into. I originally started in film and television, and then that opened the door to working with musicians, and I found that really intriguing, and live music, just something clicked inside of me. And so I moved over to working on music tours, and in a way that I was kind of doing like branded integration. So music tour might have a brand that's associated with the artist, and we're building out those events. And that was what I was doing up until 2020. And the year before COVID happened, I happened to meet the president of the organization just in passing. We had a quick coffee, and we went on with our lives. And so during COVID, my whole world kind of it just disappeared overnight. So I kind of go into 2020 was the year I hit my own healing journey of really recognizing all of a sudden my identity was taken from me, right? Like my job was gone. My partner is also in the music industry, and we weren't able to tour. And it was just a really like self-reflective time. And that in that experience, I was beginning to realize, okay, I need to just start writing and start understanding more about myself. And so serendipitously, I happened to get a call from from Kristen Starling, our president. And again, this is a year later after our one coffee, and she just happened to go, "Hey, we have an upcoming project. Are you available to do a little help with this?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, I have a lot of time. Let me do this project." And that was all happening at once, of me diving into wellness, learning how we use narrative and creative arts to tell our stories and use that as a healing factor. And then also jumping over here on the back end of the organization. And so it just kind of all came together at the right time. And our co-founder, Mary Judd, she was in the process of getting ready to retire. So it just happened where I'm learning about all of these modalities and understanding, and then happening to meet this amazing mentor who goes, "I want to teach you some more about what we can do. And I also, let's start, like, how can we build you in here? Because I think there's you have a background in storytelling. How do we go forward?" So that's how I got involved with the organization. And it's just blossomed in this really beautiful thing over, I guess now we're about 4 years in at this point. And it's amazing. I'm so grateful that we found each other.
Absolutely. So based in Nashville, nationwide in terms of outreach and scope, you host these retreats where the magic happens and carries forward. And so there's a lot that goes into all of that, of course. And as you mentioned, so many other things. But dive into the retreats because I want to focus there first. So talk about the retreats and how it works.
Yeah, so we have two sides of our programs, and one is this. It's in a partnership with couple other programs, and then our core is doing nationwide retreats. So those retreats are going to entail they're weekend retreats. So it's Friday to Sunday. And we're typically about 8 participants to 16, depending on if it's a couples retreat. And what we're going to do is we're going to work with, it's oftentimes veterans. Sometimes it is the veteran and their family. And we're going to partner a handful of professional songwriters with them during that weekend. So we have opportunities to write group songs with the whole group. They're going to have an opportunity to write their own song. And then we round out the weekend with a bunch of different activities that really get them present in understanding, like, what is the creative process and why is this a really effective way to understand ourselves and what's happening. And that's from creative writing that we'll get them into. We'll do some mindfulness in the morning. We'll start on a nature walk that's really engaging their senses. And in our society right now, everything moves so fast. So it's really easy to go, yeah, I went on a walk. I did that thing. Yep, check off the list for today. Did my meditation, check. And we're trying to take them back and go, what did you see? What did that smell like? What did that feel like? And that pulls us into the present moment and allows us to have that really engaging, like, awe experience. And we know that awe can enlighten us and just kind of re-spark us to be excited about life. So that's really what we're doing throughout the weekend, is all these little moments of intentional pause and intentional spark. And then they get to jump in and do this really fun thing, which is writing the song itself. And it all kind of boils up to, whoa, I did this. Whoa, I created this. And also, I actually feel really, as cliche as it says, centered. I hear a lot of times, like, I just feel, I haven't felt this calm in over a decade, or things along those lines. And I'm really grateful we get to do that and give them that perspective on how they can appreciate the moment a little bit better.
For many veterans, sharing the story of what they've gone through and, telling that story is very difficult. And I think that's where the creative process of having a professional songwriter, the creative writing, being able to share that and to put that out there. And then, like you said, these songs are meant for everybody. It's to cross that bridge of the veterans and what they've gone through and being able to tell that story in a little bit of a mainstream way, right? And so I think that's, to me, the therapeutic part is sharing something that's difficult, getting it out there. And as a songwriter, as a creative writer, once you open up, that's the part that connects you to the audience, right? Like, opening your heart is the connection. And I think that, to me, is part of this magic, is giving them the resources, the experience, the tools, the people, the connection, the relationships to be able to take that step that then puts them on a path of healing. Share, you don't have to name names, but share a little bit of just, when you're talking about this process of unpacking that and sharing that with the world, give us a glimpse of that.
Yeah. So, like I said, the retreats are all about this, like, present moment. Where are you right here, right now? And creating I really just like to think about it as, like, we really just create the space for them to be vulnerable. So they don't just walk in and go, we're writing a song right here, right now. Like, there's going to be a little lead in to get to know us, trust us. We're okay. You're allowed. That's a big one. You're allowed to be vulnerable in this space and talk about things that maybe you don't talk about in general public, like that it would put a damper on someone's head. Let's talk about it. So that's what that process really looks like. Is the first night is just getting to know us and understanding, and then we go into the next day, and it's sitting down with them. So we'd really be kind of breaking the bread, if you will, of going, let's just talk about what your story is, and we meet them where they're at, and we really are intentional about that. Like, if they want to write a song about the dog that has saved their life and really given them hope since leaving the service, we are happy to write about that. We wrote a song back in the fall about dogs, naps, and cherry pie, and that was what helped them just stay. Brought them so much joy. And then in the same vein, we can also that we can sit down with a veteran and they're like, I want to talk about my struggle with suicide after I came back from deployment. And we're like, great, let's talk about it. We are always very intentionally giving them that space, but also asking them, what have you learned from this experience? What strengths have you seen in yourself since, you're still here and we're so grateful you are. What are these strengths, and pulling that out of them too, so we can have that song that is vulnerable and sharing and also still touching into why they're still here and still hoping and still living a great life. And that's what we're really kind of creating, that container for them.
And I know that you've got research that backs when you talk about this work and what it does to put them on a path of hopefulness and, that kind of inspirational side of believing again and having confidence again and, getting them on a trajectory of thriving again. You've got some really impressive statistics.
Yeah. So we did it was an initial pilot study with Harvard University. And what they found was post-retreat participants were experiencing up to 77% were more happy. And that was just in their lives in general. It wasn't exclusive to, any one thing. It was just the feeling of flourishing, which our programs are based in positive psychology, which if I could nerd out and go deep into that, but I won't. And it is about the flourishing. It is about that sense of, if we think of creativity in general, we're sparking what can we do? Who can we be? What did this spark inside of us? And so we have that research that's already back there. We also have a lot of research that's happening currently. So I will just say there's a lot more to come in terms of what's happening. But we do know that whenever most veterans will share their song, when one veteran writes a song, and typically at least 44 other people are impacted by that. So while we might not be able to reach, last year we reached a little over 1,100 people, but we think about that's 1,100 songs and how many, on average, 44 people hear that. We're still making those ripples, and only more to come.
Yeah. So touch on some of the other things that you want everybody to know. Obviously, there's so much more than those retreats and the positive psychology and everything that we're talking about and diving in even deeper. But give us maybe one or two other things that you wish everyone knew about Songwriting with Soldiers and the programs and the impact.
Yeah, so a couple things. Well, we have the retreats. We also have a really beautiful partnership with a Boulder Crest Foundation, we have a few other partnerships that we love, but this is one that we work on. It's called a PATH program that we drop into. That's one that has allowed us to kind of tap into working with first responders through their program. So while we are still exclusive to veterans, we are still gathering some more songs that are in the first responders perspective. And we are, at the end of the day, we were built with SongwritingWith, and intentionally that it's right now we are veteran focused, but I think the real key is knowing that the songs are not exclusive. I think I already said that, but I'm going to emphasize it again is, please go to the website. And if you've experienced any one of the human emotions, it will tap into that. There is a song for you. And there's a lot of hope in that, of just going, I want to hear about someone else's grief experience. I want to hear about someone else's love story. I want to hear about these things that are really raw and vulnerable stories, and it touches us. It can help us process. So I would love for people to know it's not exclusive. And if you know a first responder or you know a veteran or you are going through something, give listening to songs an opportunity. And then on the other end of what to know about Songwriting with Soldiers is we are, yes, we focus on retreats, but we are really working to build out even further about how could we do more that's just with our waiting list is quite large and we can't meet everybody, and we can't serve everyone who's on the list currently, but we would love to touch base with them in other ways. So if that's helping you partner you with another organization that is available, or getting you to we've been doing some shows here in Nashville at Chiefs, and it's like a writer's round. Come listen to these songs, come be part of the community, because the real thing that needs to happen is more people knowing that they're not alone. So if we can connect you with our alumni or our community of people that are here and at one point get you through a retreat, we would love to. We want to get you connected.
Yeah. So then carry that into how can the community help? Because obviously financial contributions, donations to support your efforts, that's one piece of it. But talk about the many ways the community can support Songwriting with Soldiers.
Yeah, so partnerships are really big for us because we still are not a small nonprofit, but we're really open and have found that the more our partners allow us to opportunities. So maybe they already have a retreat program set up, but they'd like to involve a songwriting piece into maybe a handful of retreats they do a year. We would love to talk about how could we be that partner for them. So partnerships are really big for us, like I said. And another piece is really getting in and going. We don't have a set like volunteer. Here's X number of things we need done for you, but that is in the works, especially with our alumni community. So I'm really open to talking to especially creators or people in the wellness world who are like, I already lead a workshop on maybe journaling, or they're like, I do this amazing workshop that's already including veterans, or talking about how to create anything in the creative arts, especially. And I would love to talk to them some more about how can we build that into our post programming for our alumni, because right now we've been so retreat focused, but then afterwards our alumni are so hungry to do more, and I want to give them like a bulletin board of look at all these things that are available to you, but I need to know about them. So we'd love that opportunity.
We'll wrap up with website, social media. Where do we go to learn more and get connected in with Songwriting with Soldiers?
Yes. So you can go to songwritingwithsoldiers.org, and that's going to be our website. If you go over to there, there's going to be a little button that says Song Search, and that's where it'll take you into a bunch of songs. These are all songs that people have given us permission to put on our website, and you can do a search there for any one of the songs that is available. And then that also has I think we'll put it in the show notes as well, but where you can apply is underneath our programs and retreats. You can apply to attend a retreat. And then as for our social media, I believe our handle is just at Songwriting with Soldiers on Instagram and or Facebook. We'd love to connect. And like I said, find new partners, find new facilitators. We're just growing, and we're really open to just creating what does that next chapter look like.
Good stuff. Jordyn Hay, Program Director and Lead Facilitator at Songwriting with Soldiers. Thank you for all you and your amazing team do to power the good. Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys.
Higginbotham Insurance and Financial Services is proud to power the City Current Show. We're a people-first company that protects what matters most, the families, businesses, and trailblazers that keep our community going. As one of the nation's top independent insurance firms, Higginbotham is a single-source solution for business insurance, employee benefits, HR services, and personal insurance that's customized for you. We're here to serve you, the people you care about, and your community. Call 866-377-1959 or visit higginbotham.com.